Is there a way to further filter stock price rules with extra fields? For example, filter by stock price group or by extra field 1 on a stock item.
Sure. We only have so much we can do with the actual screen itself that MYOB have provided us, but using extra fields, we can be able to link to custom reports to show us whatever we need. And we can do that in a few places in EXO. So we could then, pop up a clarity report with some filters, and you can define those filters any way you like and show the information you need. So the simple answer is yes, we can do that.
When we are entering freight invoices for each line, we place the sales order number the cost is associated with. How can I analyze or report on this? What's the best way?
Ooh, that's a little tricky. The best way is a good question. I always like these kind of questions though, because it actually is a fundamental of if the data, and this really talks to our whole theme, I think, in this particular user group, is if we have the data in EXO, we can absolutely report on it, analyze it, make use of it. So the fact that the data is already there is what I want to hear. Now, we did talk earlier about accuracy and range checking and making sure extra fields are switched on. So in this case, if the information's there, yeah, absolutely, we could do a report based off that. We could pull that information out in a BI tool. We could literally look at that however we chose to, like any other information in EXO. We could then use different types of reports or widgets to present that. But absolutely, yes, we can definitely use data that's stored in EXO and basically use whatever reporting methodology we like to pull it out.
That's great, Wayne. Maybe just expanding upon that. I'm assuming that you're capturing that sales order number against the AP invoice. There would be some mechanisms by which we could actually pull that final AP invoice pricing for the freight through to the sales order, either at the sales order header level or at the sales order line level. We have seen clients previously capture not only freight, but also capturing rebates as a way of ensuring that at that sales order level, we capture not only the margin, the initial margin, but the margin after freight and the margin after rebates. So there's some great things that you can do around extra fields and get some reporting or some business analytics around that to help you drive into where you're having, profitable sales orders, or perhaps more importantly, where those orders aren't profitable. If you are doing FIS or free in store in terms of freight, understanding the impact of those freight costs is pretty essential. Speak to your business partner. I'm sure they can talk that through with you in further detail. All right, can we set up individual credit limits for sales credits similar to POs and creditor invoices?
Yes, we've been able to do that one for a while, I guess is the simple answer. I might be able to do a share for that one. I might grab that for a second if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Nothing like sharing live, Wayne.
That's right. It's fantastic. No problems at all. Okay, so if again in EXO config, this one has actually been around for a while. If you go to a particular user and double click in there, if you go to the authority tab, then there's actually several places, but we're looking here at the credit invoice authority limit, but there's multiple other places that you can determine and set limits per user in EXO.
Very good. All right, if my stock just won't reconcile, what are some reliable strategy suggestions we can follow for improvement? You've never heard that question before, have you, Wayne?
That's a new one. That's really surprising. So for that one, there's a few levels of answer, I think. Obviously, making sure that you're following the recommended end of month procedures to reconcile before the end of your period, to make sure that things don't slip. I think that's one of the biggest things we see is something goes wrong a little bit in a month and it's not noticed, and then it kind of snowballs over time, and you come to the end of financial year and all of a sudden, you know, the reports and the subledgers are significantly out. So making sure that you do your end of month practices and follow them through, and if there is something wrong, that it's rectified and analysed early. The other thing is there are some additional reporting options that you can use. Kilimanjaro have written a whole set of really comprehensive subledger reconciliation reports that we can install quite easily, which gives you the tools to much easier drill down and look at where those problems might be, rather than actually have to export it all out to Excel, say, for example, and then, you know, do the line by line comparison. So we offer that as a reporting package that we've written specially. So definitely things we can do there to make that job easier.
Yeah, that's great, Wayne. Just expanding upon that, often the issues we see with stock do come down to the processes in place. Often you will see that the stock transactions are actually occurring significantly later than when the actual physical movements happen. If there's one thing that we can do to actually improve the processes around ensuring our stock is accurate, ensuring that it reconciles, and ensuring that we can actually get a clear inventory position, is to actually get more real time in terms of the stock transactions that occur. If you do have significant issues around stock, do consider looking at a warehouse management system. Warehouse management systems introduce that ability to actually scan, do picking using devices, and actually have those transactions occurring in real time back into EXO. Some significant benefits for those of us with large stock movements, as well as reducing that sort of cost per pick. All right, Wayne, we use job costing. What are the advantages on moving to advanced? Can projects match the functionality, and what are the areas where job costing is more comprehensive? Now, I might answer a little bit of this, but I'll also get you to add to that in terms of some of the job costing features. I think it's really key to understand out of any software change, the value that you're going to get. Advanced is a really deep and wide piece of software, offers some significant functionality around that projects module. And we do see for a lot of organizations where they're using job costing for sort of field service, or where they're using job costing for light manufacturing, or some of those sorts of areas, that advanced really does offer some significant enhancements to that functionality. They are quite different though. We do see job costing covers a little bit more from a pure jobbing perspective. If you're a job shop, job costing handles a little bit of that ad hoc nature of that environment, probably a little bit better than MYOB Advanced does. Wayne, do you have anything to add around that?
Sure. Yeah, just adding to what you said there, Stephen, I think it's like it is very much a customer site specific kind of answer, because, you know, the lovely thing about EXO is you can use EXO in so many different ways. It can be customized to every business, and a lot of people have taken that advantage and customized EXO to fit their business really well. So whenever you're looking at a change, particularly between ERPs, you need to make sure it's not just a particular feature or a particular process. You want to make sure that the solution actually matches all your business needs. So yes, they are different products, and they both have their advantages and disadvantages, but you'd probably want to have a good solid evaluation all round, rather than just look at a particular sub part of EXO, which is job costing, and then how it's used within that. So absolutely, I'm with you on that one, Stephen. Absolutely.
Yeah, just encourage you to reach out to your business partner, have that conversation, have a good look at advanced, and ask the questions internally within your organization in terms of where those broader pain points are. Are you experiencing growing pains? You will find that there's, you know, pros and cons to any product, and you've got to weigh all of those items up. All right. How can I get stock item costing information by location? Wayne.
Stock item Okay, so we have a whole stack of standard features in EXO that will give you the actual in the stock. This is maybe for me a question that could go a couple of ways. Maybe I will just share my screen here. If whoever submitted that question wants to add a little bit to that, happy to do that.
My take on that question, Wayne, is where the user wants to maintain different costings by warehouse location.
Yes, that's where I thought that was leading as well. And the answer to that is, we can, at a simple level, we can see here that the stock by location is more on quantity rather than cost in EXO. So you can actually see in the standard EXO screen, we can look at a particular item and we can see its average cost per site, if you like. It doesn't go down to the site level.
Location level.
Yeah, the sub-location level. So realistically, while we can see the quantities there, EXO doesn't really support that. And that has been a question that's been asked before. So at the minute, we can't really, make that work, I guess, as it is.
Is that consultant stumped, Wayne?
I wouldn't call it stumped. I'm just aware of the way EXO does that. I think it's, we could see exactly what EXO uses with its costing here, and we can see that we can, set certain areas of the stock by location, but just not the cost. That's just a restriction of the way EXO works, and it might be something that we see in the new features, but for the time being, that's not something that's there.
So maybe just expanding on that, there are a couple of points I would like to add. I have seen a customization done previously in EXO where we took the batch features of EXO to support essentially costing. In this instance, it was costing by customer, but you could, if you really needed to do a similar thing for costing by location. As long as you don't already use serial numbers or batches. If you use serial numbers or batches, of course, that feature is already in use. Of course, this is one of the strengths of MYOB Advanced. MYOB Advanced natively does support costing by warehouse. It does support a number of other costing methodologies as well. It is sort of one of its strengths around that sort of more complex business. So something to keep in mind. Again, reach out to your business partner for more details. One final question here. How long does the e-invoicing setup take? And I might put my hand to that one first, Wayne, if that's all right. It would really be a question for your EDI van just to talk through. If you have an EDI van that's already providing some of that functionality, they've already mapped some of your transactions for you. It should be a fairly simple process to add e-invoicing to that. It depends again, if you're looking at AP or AR or both, what that looks like, just reach out to your EDI provider to talk through in more detail, or your business partner if you're not currently working with an EDI van, and they can talk you through that. And I think that's it, Wayne.